Hey everyone, welcome to Pop Incursions, my new channel where we will discuss everything MCU and Marvel Funko Pops. Today I am going to recap episode 1 of Secret Invasion. And just a spoiler warning, there are major spoilers in this video, so proceed at your own discretion. We start off with Agent Ross, Everett Ross, that we know from Captain America Civil War and from Black Panther and Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And we see that he meets with another agent called Agent Prescott that I do not believe we've met before. And Agent Prescott is basically very paranoid, very suspicious.
I stopped filing reports at the office.
But rightly so, because he actually has a theory that is much closer to the truth than not about the recent tension and hostility, and that it's all being orchestrated by the Skrull. But Agent Ross is not really buying it. He lets us know that Nick Fury is on Saber. We've actually seen him in Saber in the trailer for the Marvels. And then Agent Prescott actually hands a tablet, what I believe is a tablet, to Agent Ross that apparently has information about the Moscow bombing that they planned, that we obviously see by the end of this episode. He suspects that Agent Ross is a Skrull, and he actually attacks Agent Ross, but unfortunately for Agent Prescott, Agent Ross kills him before he can kill Ross. He is trying to get a quick extraction. We see he calls in Maria Hill. That lets us know that clearly she's been in Moscow, or at least in Russia, for quite some time, and she's kind of helping out the operations there. We then see a man chase Agent Ross, and that man actually reveals himself to be Talos. And Maria Hill is obviously very confused as to why Talos is chasing Everett Ross, but Talos kills him, and Agent Ross reverts back to a Skrull. So there we have it. Before the notorious opening credits, we immediately have one agent is killed, and one agent that we thought we knew is now a Skrull and is also dead. But the question is, was he a Skrull the whole time? Was he only a Skrull since the end of Wakanda Forever? We still don't know.
The colonizer in chains. Now I have seen everything.
And we see Nick Fury back on Earth finally. He steps off a spaceship and Maria Hill greets him. Maria then takes him back to a safe house. Fury and Talos have a conversation. We learn that unfortunately Talos' wife Soren was killed. Maria Hill keeps Nick Fury up to speed and shows this tablet that Prescott handed to Ross that had this damning information, and it's luckily that Maria Hill it's luckily that Talos killed him and Maria got that information, because otherwise they wouldn't have even expected what happened at the end of this episode. But obviously, naturally, Nick Fury is quite upset and angry at the current state of the world. We learn that there are a faction of Skrulls that call themselves the Resistance, but they are using another terrorist group as a front. They're called Americans Against Russia. And that's basically as the scapegoat, while the Skrulls don't have to, get any punishment for their crimes. We also learn that Skrulls are immune to radiation, so they are actually seeking refuge and accommodation in abandoned nuclear plants all over Russia. But Talos lets us know that they're actually off the book plants, so there's no way to tell exactly where they are. Nick Fury is understandably very annoyed, and he says, I'm going to go on a walk. We then see Nick Fury get kidnapped, and we finally get to see Sonya Falsworth, Olivia Colman's character in Secret Invasion. She is an MI6 agent, and it's very clear that she is very powerful and wealthy based on just her accommodation and her goons. Nick and Sonya have a conversation, and kind of like what we're going to see throughout this series, Sonya is not afraid to kind of vent a little and throw a little bit of dirt Fury's way by saying, why did you come back now? Do you feel responsible? Because this was your doing. And that's something that we see very much so throughout this series. And I must say, Nick Fury is not looking like the slick Nick that we used to know. This is a different Nick Fury. He is not in good shape. The blip really shook him up.
I think Thanos' snap changed you.
And that's the only reason he's come back, is because it's of his doing. Nick then, asks Sonya about this Kazakhstan bomb that is related to the planned bombing later on in the episode, and Sonya does not want to give him any information, and she says the fact that he doesn't know this information tells her everything that she needs to know.
Tells me all I need to know about this new, rather old Nick Fury.
Fury also takes this time to plant a bug on a noun or ornament in her house that we see later in the episode to basically intercept intelligence and information. We then see young Skrull in human form present to a nuclear plant. His name is Beto, and he says that he is looking for a home in his own skin, which is a good piece of writing, I must say. And then we finally see Emilia Clarke's character, Giah, Talos' daughter, welcome him in. She verifies his identity by asking him to take his true form, and then she drives him up to the accommodation, or the compound as she calls it. She also asks, when have you last eaten? Beto can't remember, and then she gives him actual Skrull food, which, similar to the plant earlier, this is a sign they don't plan going anywhere. They're very much so settling themselves onto Earth. Not only are they growing their own plants, they're now growing Skrull only produce, and this is something that Beto finds absolutely amazing. It's a abandoned nuclear plant, and while people can seek refuge for free, Gravik doesn't expect anything in return. They cannot leave the compound, obviously, because they would be at risk of, letting the location out to the wrong people. We also learn that people can also join the resistance, as they call it, and fight as a soldier operative under the command of Gravik, and apparently if you do so and you're loyal, you will be rewarded. We then finally get to see a little bit more about how exactly all this operation is going on. We go into, obviously, a much more restricted part of the compound where they lock the humans up that they take their form. They put them into fracking pods, which they use to scroll through their memories and intercept their information that's in their brain. We actually see Brogan, who is a Skrull that is kind of being induced in, as we see, and he takes the human shell, as they call it, of another person. He can take the human's memory simply by touching their head. And we've seen a fracking pod before in Captain Marvel. We then see Fury and Talos keep some MI6 agents hostage while they go to speak to the bomb seller, who's also an art seller. While this is going on, we see Maria Hill follow Giah, and they have a bit of a fight. They don't know who each other is. It's in a dark tunnel. However, Talos then comes out from the cellar, takes over, after that Skrull was killed actually. Talos comes out, is also fighting, doesn't realise it's Giah, and then finally they realise it's father and daughter. And Giah is understandably annoyed and upset, but Talos takes this opportunity to let her know that her mother is dead, and this is something that she did not know before, as she was speaking about her mother in the present tense, and you can definitely see this has impacted her, but this did not, make her all of a sudden melt, and it was a lovely moment. She kind of used this as just more kind of ammunition to argue with her father, and then she runs off and has a little moment for herself to kind of mourn. And this is also when we learn that allegedly Gravik is the person that killed her mother. We then see Fury meet with Maria Hill in a pub, and this is the chess scene that we got a preview of before the series aired. This is actually a pretty sad scene because it's one of the last private one-to-one scenes that they have together before Maria is killed at the end of the episode.
Otherwise someone's gonna get hurt.
We then have Unity Day. This is the day where Gravik has planned to bomb Red Square in Moscow, using the front of Americans Against Russians, the terrorist group, as the scapegoat. And Giah actually met with her father in private. She basically gave him some information. But we see them trying to intercept the bomb before it's carried onto the person who's going to detonate it. And while this is happening, we see that they're unsuccessful at it. And then all these people, like when Fury was on a walk and in the bar, all the people that made themselves known to him all appeared right before him just before the bomb went off. And just as the bomb was about to be detonated, that same person who imitated everyone was Gravik and pressed the detonator, and kaboom, we have a bombing. Obviously there's a lot of panic and a lot of chaos, and during all of this Fury is looking for Maria to make sure that they're okay, and even the viewers don't really know what has happened until it does. But we see Fury find Maria and he shoots her and then smiles, and then we quickly learn that wasn't Fury, that was Gravik. And Gravik then looks at Fury, smiles again, shoots her again, and then disappears. Fury goes over to Maria. We do not know whether or not Maria knew whether this was Gravik or whether she thought Fury killed him, and if that was the case, that is horrific. And naturally, Fury is very upset. And I do implore you to stick around, because I will be making a video about episode 4, and I will be starting to make Funko Pop videos. As you can see, they're all around me. Do check out my links to my socials below. Feel free to like and let me know what you think of the series and whether I forgot something in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching my very first video. Do let me know down in the comments what you have thought about Secret Invasion so far, and do click that subscribe button, and I will see you again very soon.